Hello and welcome to the Critically Clueless. Today we are in Empire of Sin, and today's video is actually a video that's been requested loads and loads on my channel within the last year that this game's been released. But this is the first time I've actually put a video dedicated to it on the channel itself. So today's video is all about moles. I'm going to go over everything I know, going over each class of gangster as well, and hopefully I can help you guys with any questions that you have to do with this subject. But before we got into the video, I just wanted to take a quick second to say that if you're not currently subscribed to the channel and you're into Empire of Sin, then maybe think about doing so. We do publish a lot of content on Empire of Sin. We currently have, I believe it is over 150 videos, and if you have a question about Empire of Sin and I can't answer it, I'd be very surprised. But of course, if I can't answer it, I do actually have a Discord full of Empire Sim players, and maybe one of those can. So if you're interested in jumping in there, the link will be in the description. So the first thing to know about moles is that based on the tier of the gangster that you're setting to the task, determines just how likely they are to actually succeed in that mission. Now, if you send a demo to be a mole, their mission is to sabotage a racket. Tier 1, as you saw, was a 30% chance. Tier 2 is a 40% chance. Tier 3 is a 52% chance, and it will go up and up. Now, these values aren't the same for each class. In each tier as you go up, they do differ a little bit, but generally if you have a tier 5 gangster, let's say you had 2 or 3 different demos as a tier 5, they would all have the same chance of actually completing that task. So on to the next one, a hired gun. Now, a hired gun seems to have the lowest percentage chance of actually completing their mission. Now, a hired gun can attack an enemy boss, any boss that you currently already know and have discovered. Tier 1 only has a 5% chance, and a tier 5 has a 25% chance. This is hard to actually make work, however, so let me know down in the comments if you have managed to get anyone. On to an enforcer. An enforcer will steal cash. Tier 1, you've got a 30% chance, and tier 5, you have a 90% chance. Now, bear in mind that the boss you actually send these guys out after, they are stealing from the pool of cash that you see them with. So they can't steal cash they don't have. And also bear in mind that you actually have to keep these gangsters that you're hiring, that you're sending on these mole missions, you have to keep them paid. So bear that in mind. Stealing cash, in my opinion, having done it a few times in completion, just it never steals enough to kind of cover the wages and to kind of cover the time, because every single mission that you're sending these moles on, it takes 6 months to find out whether it was a success or not. Up next, we have the con artist. Now, the con artist will steal cash, much like the enforcer, has a 30% chance at tier 1 and only a 67% chance at tier 5. Personally, I think the con artist should probably do a little bit of a better job, but is what it is. Next, we're going to talk about the doctor. Now, they have an interesting one. I wasn't exactly sure what it done at first, but basically they will plant misinformation, and I think that should be worded a little bit differently. A tier 1 has a 30% chance of succeeding, and a tier 5 has a 90% chance of succeeding. And in my opinion, having done it a few times, what they tend to do is give the boss a target to attack. So for instance, if I sent this to Daniel Jackson, he may then attack Salts because of the information or the misinformation that I have given him. However, you can't control who you are or who your gangster is actually talking about. So therefore, when you are sending your doctor to whichever boss, you could very well come back saying that there's basically just no suitable target. Now, I've had that even as a 90% success rate, but unfortunately, the only person that they could attack, they were actually friends with. Therefore, because of that reason, the mission failed. And lastly, that brings us to the fixers. And again, the fixers will still cash. The tier 1 is a 30% chance, and the tier 5 is a 90% chance. Out of the 4 different things that we can do, we can sabotage rackets, kill a boss, steal cash, and plant misinformation. I think plant misinformation is potentially good, potentially usable within a playthrough, within a large playthrough. I also think that the hired gun killer boss again could be usable and could be worth doing. Unfortunately for me, I still feel that moles need a little bit work to actually be worth investing in. And the main reason I say that is because these missions, all of them, they take 6 months to do it. 6 months in game time. That is a long, long time. Let's say you had a magical playthrough, you had the money to hire a good gangster and sent him on that mission. You can get a huge chunk into the game before he comes back saying that that mission was a success or a failure. And that entire time of doing so, you are having to pay that gangster's wages as well, without the benefit of actually being able to use them. So for me, unfortunately, I still say that moles just ultimately aren't worth your time and investment. It's a shame. I think it's changed massively since release. I mean, especially before precincts, you couldn't really do anything with moles at all. They don't really seem to have a benefit at all. So it's nice to see the different things you can do. It's nice to see them actually work. I love the fact that the higher the tier gangster you actually send on a mission determines the success rate of the mission. I like that as well. However, I still feel that either it takes too long, or that it's too costly, or that your rewards just aren't good enough. Especially when it comes to stealing cash. Now, I've had moles, high tier moles, you know, like tier 5 moles, go into a boss. And even though that boss has 50, 60 grand, which by the way is actually quite rare to find an AI boss with that kind of money, but even though they have that kind of money, when I succeed in the mission, I'm coming back with 2.5 grand. I think the most I ever got was 7.5 grand, and that's bearing in mind I've hired a top tier gangster that's taken 30 grand a week off me, and I've had to pay them for 6 months to have that mission succeed. As you can see, unfortunately for me, the numbers just don't add up, especially if what you want them to do is steal cash. But I think possibly killing a boss, doing a hired gun, targeting someone that maybe is in a neighborhood that you can't quite get to, I think that would be good. I think it's going to be worth doing if you manage to do it early enough in the game. But yeah, that's the end of this video, guys. I hope it's been useful to you. That's pretty much all the information I have on moles. Hopefully I've covered everything. But let me know down in the comments if you either have any questions or thoughts on moles in general. But until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.